Hi there, and thank you for joining us on UnSCRIPted. I'm Angela Kashuba, Dean of the UNC Eshelman School of Pharmacy. We have an amazing community, all working toward a shared goal of solving the world's most pressing healthcare challenges. I'm excited for you to hear the unscripted stories of our faculty, staff, students, alums, and partners. Today, I have invited Jon Easter to join me for a conversation. Jon is a professor of the practice and also vice chair of practice advancement for our PACE division, our practice advancement and clinical education division. Welcome, Jon. Thanks for joining me for Unscripted today.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit about your journey into the pharmacy profession?
It started in pharmacy school, like many of our faculty here at the University of Georgia. And I will add I am a Tar Heel by birth, but Dad was transferred down to the Atlanta area when I was in high school and went to the University of Georgia for pharmacy school. My friend's dad worked for Eli Lilly, and I was just really interested in how innovation worked and the pharmaceutical industry worked. So as I graduated, I accepted a job with Glaxo at the time, then GSK, and spent a long career in the pharmaceutical industry before making my way here to UNC.
So tell me what you did at Glaxo.
Started off in the sales and marketing area. And then I became really passionate about how the government interfaces with medication access and how policy works and how medication access is so dependent on government engagement and regulations, right? And so I had a mentor at the time. His name was Gary Salamito. He and I still keep in touch. He's still here in North Carolina. He really brought me on to a group within Glaxo called Professional Affairs, and it just really lit a fire of collaboration for me and understanding how to work with partners. And then from there, I spent the next 10 plus years back here in North Carolina working in the policy shop.
So can you talk about those last 10 years and the activities that you were involved in that you're really proud of?
You often talk about the Asheville Project, and I love to hear that. And that was something that Glaxo was engaged in early on and provided some foundation funding to help stimulate that project. And it was wonderful for me on the policy side to be a part of that as the data was rolling out to really utilize that data from a policy perspective. And that then led to a project called the Diabetes 10-City Challenge that we worked on at GSK with the American Pharmacists Association to really look at how do you replicate a project like that across 10 cities focused in diabetes. And that was a wonderful project, again, from a clinical perspective, but also opening employers' eyes and medical society's eyes and others about the role of pharmacy. And that led to a project with North Carolina Medicaid called First in Health, which was an incredible opportunity to take the medical home infrastructure here in North Carolina that was established for Medicaid patients, and an organization called CCNC really helped to bolster medical homes and Medicaid. And we at GSK said, well, why don't we allow our employees from a commercial insurer perspective to join in these medical homes? And could that help to replicate and expand the model of coordinated care? And I was super lucky and proud to really be a part of that project. And that actually is what started to build the relationship here at UNC and make that transition eventually.
Yeah, so that was going to be my next question, is what enticed you to move from industry into academia?
A mutual friend of ours, Troy Trigstad, introduced me to the dean of the school, Dean Bluin at the time, and he said, we're all doing some really innovative work here. Are there opportunities for us to work together? And Dean Bluin was really interested in growing, advancing practice and disseminating our work and moving out beyond expanding work with our students. And all of a sudden the light bulb came on for me. It's like we're really aligned in what we're trying to do here. And moving beyond the pharmaceutical industry, maybe we can have even greater impact, not just on practice advancement initiatives, which we can, and you have championed that incredibly well. I think we are just hitting on all of our strides with practice advancement right now. but also what lit the fire for me was meeting the students and beginning to engage with them and watching their eyes light up, and that hooked me. I was at that point, I have to come do this.
Yeah, our students are really amazing. Can you talk about practice advancement and your role and what your priorities are as a vice chair for practice advancement in the PACE division?
Absolutely. And you're right, it means a lot of things to a lot of people. And the thing that I would start with, and it's a theme throughout my career, I think, is just collaboration. I love to have guest lecturers and guest speakers who are leading practice advancement throughout the state of North Carolina into our classroom that produces opportunities and new collaborations and excites the students. So that's one thing, is just making sure that we have our pulse on who is really innovating and leading out there and connecting them with them in a very methodical way. The second is making sure that we are partnering with these entities to advance practice. We had a great community pharmacy project in diabetes and hypertension, and we took that project, which was successful, and we essentially handed that to our partners, Blue Cross of North Carolina, and they've been able to sort of run with it and expand that work. And so there are opportunities for us to actually create and drive our own demonstration projects. And then I think the last thing is really what can we do to really support advancing practice. And that's a lot of the work that you've championed around our Catalyst work and bringing the right people together, helping to reinforce policy opportunities and disseminate data that can help educate others on the power of pharmacy and what we should be doing.
Can you talk about team-based care? Because you hear that word or that phrase kind of thrown around a lot or talked about a lot, but what does it really mean? Currently, is it being practiced in North Carolina in any way, or what needs to change in order to really lean in on team-based care?
Yeah,
There's a lot of questions.
It's a great question. If you really look at on the ground, you mentioned North Carolina, there are some incredible situations and opportunities where physicians are working collectively with pharmacy. Now, they might be embedded in that clinic or they might be in the community pharmacy down the road, but physicians are saying, I need your help with medication management for this population of patients. And there are ways to cobble together reimbursement for pharmacists there, and I think I've seen some really good examples of that. But I think shoring that up to share data, to share EHRs, to blend these new value-based models, and really having pharmacists and physicians connected at the hip in many ways, and just using the examples that we've got out there today. I think that's a great opportunity for us.
Right. That's terrific. Can you talk about your experiences in taking students to the legislature and interacting with senators and representatives? What does that look like?
Yeah. It's I'm smiling because it's so much fun. And this past year, we formalized it more, where we were able to instead of saying, hey, if you're interested, let's meet down on Jones Street, and then we'll coordinate from there. We got a bus, and everybody piled on the bus, and off we went, and it became a field trip of sorts. You mentioned how to get involved. So the first step in all that was having the lobbyists who live in that building every single day educate everyone on how it works and how the building's set up and where the Senate is and where the House is and how the chambers work and what does session look like. And so just demystifying the building and how the process works was, I think, very interesting for everybody. And then fortunately, we actually had specific meetings with legislative leaders, and I was incredibly proud to watch our students step up and talk about their experiences. So it wasn't, an expert in the field. It was students giving their experiences, and that should give us all hope.
Yes,
I think.
For sure. They are very enthusiastic about what they're doing and enthusiastic about the future and very positive about the future. You spend a lot of time talking to legislators as well, just in terms of education around the pharmacy profession. movement of healthcare dollars. So you spend a lot of time educating.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give faculty, staff, students, alums in terms of advocacy? How best to advocate for the profession of pharmacy?
I think understanding what problems legislators and our policymakers are trying to solve, that's a big that's a big need. And then once we understand what problems that they're trying to solve, we as faculty, we have so much information at our fingertips. We are experts in so many areas, and to be able to provide what I'll call sort of neutral information, so not taking a side on one way or another, but providing evidence and a neutral data and telling the policymakers, you all are the decision makers, you all make the decision here. But as those who are credible, those who have good information and good data, we can provide that, that information that can help them make better decisions. And that's right in our wheelhouse, because that's what we do. We create knowledge and we create information as what we do here at the school.
Yeah. Jon, thanks so much for being with us today and for sharing your story and talking about practice advancement and the opportunities for pharmacy in the future. I appreciate everything that you are doing in this school and for this school and for the profession. Thank you for your leadership.
Well, and thank you for this opportunity today and for your leadership to help us do what we do in practice advancement. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yep.
And I want to thank you all for watching. We love sharing stories of those who make the UNC Eshelman School of Pharmacy excellent. We hope you will join us for the next episode of UnSCRIPted, conversations with people who are advancing medicine for life.